Son of a
Glitch.
Metal Gear Solid 2 Sons of Liberty. Solid Snake takes us into another sneaking mission and brings along a few hilarious glitches for good measure. So here goes. On the tanker, get to Deck C and go to the far end of the hall with the camera. Equip a weapon like the M9 and then crouch down just outside this vent. Holding the control stick down, quickly equip and unequip the weapon using R2. Snake will then begin moving into the vent and through the wall. Now Snake will be completely out of bounds. There's not too much to see with this glitch as it's only a small area enclosed by more invisible walls, but you can see Snake through these walls along the corridor. With enemy sentries around, you can knock on the other side of the locker and they'll open it expecting Snake to be inside. That's some real stealth right there. To get out of this area, there's a loading zone just under these stairs that takes you up to Deck D. You can also use this kind of wall clipping to stand up on top of the bar on Deck A. Crouch against this wall and then hold down on the control stick whilst repeatedly tapping R2. Snake always moves along the wall in the opposite direction you hold the control stick. Snake will go through the bar, and when you let go of the control stick, he'll clip on top of it. Now, when you stand on the bar and hold both the L2 and R2 buttons and then use the R1 button to look in first person view, Snake's head will go through the ceiling. If you grab a stunned soldier on Deck D and then drag him up the stairs, because of the small space, you'll end up with this situation. Not a huge glitch exactly, but it sure looks freaking hilarious. Oh baby. You can do something similar when you beat Olga. Pick her up by the legs and then drag her around by this small wall. If you get her in just the right place, her upper body will go through the floor. Also, for some reason, sometimes on Deck D, if you're spotted by the enemy and you try to make your escape up to the bridge, Snake will be constantly knocked back by gunfire from the top of the stairs, even though no enemies are up there. This only happens on occasion, but it looks pretty funny. Let's move on to one of the funniest glitches in the game. While standing at the bottom of a ladder, equip the camera and immediately press the triangle button before the camera icon shows on screen. If done correctly, Snake will try to climb the ladder and use the camera at the same time. The result is Snake doing his falling and landing animation repeatedly, making him kinda look like a child having a tantrum, or he's in the world's most intense mosh pit. Using this glitch state, we can take Snake completely out of bounds, all around the tanker. If we go too far in either direction, the camera will stop following Snake, but he can still continue heading out of bounds. For instance, we can get Snake all the way to the left or right to visit the buildings at the side of the Hudson River. Although, because the camera has stopped following Snake, you'll need to keep using first person view to see where Snake is. We can also go all the way to the front of the tanker, although honestly, there's not a whole lot to see. Snake will remain at the same height if you're just moving around with the control stick. But if you repeatedly press the X button, Snake will drop down to a lower height. Pressing the circle button, Snake will grab an invisible ladder while floating in the air. And if you do nothing, Snake will repeatedly climb and drop in mid-air. If you do the glitch halfway up the ladder, Snake's legs will be inside his body as he jumps around. It's best to not have a weapon equipped while trying the glitch, as it restricts Snake's movement like this. You can also use the box for the glitch instead of the camera, and having the box equipped during the glitch just adds to the fun. If you get shot at while in the glitch state, Snake will return to the ladder but at the wrong angle, so he now climbs an invisible ladder. To fix this, simply climb all the way to the top of the ladder and then Snake will return to normal. Likewise, when you want to get Snake to return to his normal self while jumping around, return to the ladder and press triangle once again. Snake can do this glitch on pretty much every ladder in the game. In hold number 1, you can do the glitch and skip over all the Marines to get to the door of hold number 2, in which case I had Snake jumping under the floor with his head poking out of the ground. Remember folks, these are highly trained members of the Marine Corps. I guess they've never experienced under the floor stealth tactics before. Or you can get some more hilarious results, like Snake doing this. No, your eyes aren't mistaken, Snake's legs are going through his body. This right here, this is nightmare fuel. In hold number 2, we can once again use the weapon equipping wall clip from earlier, but this time it'll put us under the floor. We won't be able to progress any further from here, as there isn't any ground programmed except for the top of the vent ducts. If we do fall from here, we'll drop all the way to the very bottom of this room, an invisible void area with no real escape. It kinda goes on seemingly forever, and as we get further away from where the room is loaded, using first person view has some odd effects. Snake's arm will begin moving so quickly that the mesh of his model will get stretched away from his armature rig. It's almost like there's another force being applied to his model that makes it stretch this way, and the only way to get out of this void is to save and reset the game. We can use the ladder in hold number 3 to once again get Snake in a glitched state, and then we can get up close and personal with Metal Gear Ray, whilst wearing a cardboard box. 'Cause why not? Onto the big shell now, and during the Fortune fight, if you stand against a wall and repeatedly press the square button to jump shoot out, Fortune won't be able to hurt you. This glitch tactic is extremely useful in the hardest modes of the game, but requires more precise timing due to Fortune firing off twice as many shots. And then you just have to keep this going until the fight is over. In Strut E, the parcel room, equip a box while standing on the weight, and then when the 3 lights turn orange, unequip the box and get down from the weight. The 3 lights should turn blue, and now the game thinks you're still on the weight. Now, if you get in an enemy sentry's field of vision, they won't actually see you. You can attack them, run around them, stand in plain sight, and they still won't spot you. And now you can enjoy your newfound powers of invisibility. After the fight with the Harrier on the Shell 1 and 2 connecting bridge, there's a small ledge that Raiden must get across to reach Shell 2. If Raiden faces the wall and then you press the circle button 3 times, Raiden will fall and grab the ledge, but he'll be facing outwards, which doesn't usually happen. By pressing the triangle button and the L2, R2 and R1 button to look into first person view, Raiden will now be floating above the ledge. By pressing any other button, Raiden can now be lowered down until he hits the death trigger below. Another similar glitch you can do involves being on this small ledge by the area where you have to crouch sidle along the wall. If you punch kick the wall like before by pressing circle and then immediately press the triangle button, Raiden will grab the rail and flip. If you get an angle like this, Raiden can actually climb along an invisible rail, but he'll only be able to go out so far until he stops, or in the other direction he'll go through the wall. Obviously, if you climb up while facing this direction with no solid ground for Raiden to stand on, he'll fall to his death. So be sure to put him back on the ledge before trying to climb. There's another weapon-equipped vent out of bounds in the Shell 1 B1 core, although for this one you're going to want to switch your item quick change from unequipped to previous. Now equip the stun grenade and then equip the chaff grenade, so you're switching back and forth between these 2 items. Now crouch against this wall and hold left on the control stick while smashing R2. Raiden will clip through the wall and then out of bounds. There's only a small ledge outside this room that Raiden can move on apart from the top of the vent. If Raiden falls, he'll be stuck and you'll have to save and reset. Something interesting happens if you crouch and lie flat by an elevator button and then press triangle. As Raiden presses the button, his legs will go right through his body.
What are you doing?
My thoughts exactly. Then he'll fall through the floor and land in another void under the map, where you can once again experience the weird hand glitch. There is one instance where this glitch actually comes in useful. If you perform this glitch by the elevator in the flooded Shell 2 core, Raiden will fall through the floor and land on top of the flooded rooms. This means he can simply run along the top of them and then head left to punch his way onto the stairs and skip the swimming section to get to Vamp. You can get to this area much earlier in the game and it won't be loaded properly, and also without a level 4 card you won't be able to get through this door, so no sequence breaks there. Here's a pretty funny glitch you can do with Emma. When you rescue Emma, take her to the purification room and get her as close as possible to the edge like this. Now press the square button to get Emma in a chokehold and she'll be pushed out of bounds. If you continue to hold square and move around, she'll float over the water as Raiden moves further away. Keep repressing square so Emma doesn't fall into the water. Well, until we step on that mine just there. Ooh, sorry Emma, mistakes were made. During the Tengu fight in Arsenal Gear, there's a glitch that will help you skip this encounter. As you make your way to the door at the north end, throw some stun grenades to clear a path and get enemies away from the door. When you reach the door, stand against it facing directly south, then hold the R1 button to enter first person view and then press circle to do the punch kick combo. As Raiden kicks, let go of the R1 button and then Raiden will go through the door. The combo actually carries Raiden backwards into the load zone on the other side of the door, meaning you don't have to engage any of the enemies. Make sure there are no enemies by the door during the combo, as Raiden will lock onto the Tengu and this will ruin the angle for the door clip. In the next room there's a small glitch that can be very helpful in the harder modes. As the fight begins, knock Snake out with an M9 tranquilizer so that all the Arsenal Tengu come after Raiden. Stand in this small passageway by the door and equip the coolant. Now simply spray them all with the coolant to keep them in place and carry this on until the cutscene begins. Make sure you don't continuously hold down the square button for the coolant, as it runs out and then needs time to charge, which will create a window for the Tengu to attack. Instead, hold square for a couple of seconds, release it and then press it again, and repeat until the cutscene begins. If you're going for no kills, this glitch is the perfect strategy. And finally, I've saved the funniest glitch for last. In the Strut A Deep Sea Dock, we can once again use the ladder glitch from earlier, but this time the results are even more entertaining. Stand at the top of the ladder and equip the scope, and then quickly press the triangle button immediately after. If done correctly, Raiden should now be swimming above the water. Whatever you do, don't move up or down in this state or Raiden will return to normal. We need to move either left or right and then swim against a wall to be pushed up onto dry land. And if we do that, Raiden can now swim around the entire area. He can swim up these steps and even through this solid door. If you swim to the end of the corridor and beyond this dead enemy, Raiden will enter the next room and end the glitch. We can also swim out of bounds by getting to an area away from the water and then holding either up or down on the control stick and Raiden will sink through the ground. There's not really a lot to see out here, just the other side of the walls, and also the endless void filled with water, but you can swim in any given direction for a good long while. Also, once you're out of bounds, there's no way back into the dock. You can swim to the unloaded area where the next room should be, but all the objects and textures won't be loaded. But the best thing about this glitch is how funny it looks watching Raiden swim through the air. And that about wraps up our glitchy mission in Metal Gear Solid 2, and some hilarious glitches you guys can try out. And if you like this episode, hit that like button, share it with everyone you know and love, but most importantly, please subscribe if you want to see more from the series. Head over to the Facebook page for the show. I post updates and sneak peeks to upcoming episodes and keep you guys in the know about all things Son of a Glitch. Or you guys can follow me on Twitter and keep updated that way. Also, I stream on Twitch whilst making episodes, so you guys should check me out there too. You know, if you want to.